necessary part of the relationship, and I will even argue a good point. It is a good part of the relationship, and I'll tell you why. It's because love changes from being a feeling to being an action, being a choice, an act of the will, okay? Everybody gets hungry and eats. That doesn't make you a good person. That makes you a human with a functioning digestive system, okay? If you find this person so wonderful and you are so in love with them and you come together like, you don't understand, man. Like, what's that song? I'll jump on a grenade for you. What's that song? What's it called? Is it called Grenade? The name of the song, Grenade?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Okay, that is probably one of the, I won't say it's one of the stupidest songs I've ever heard, because there's a big list. But that notion, okay, like, I'm not going to, okay, like, literally, yeah, I suppose if you're going to die if I don't jump on it, okay, fine. But the notion of, like, I'll do anything for you, that's not coming from a virtuous part of the soul, of the heart. That is coming from a cascade of very powerful chemicals that induce you to feel extremely attracted to this person, okay? You felt hungry and you ate. That's kind of what's going on here, okay? The real test of love, when you really get to love that person, is when it isn't easy, okay? You don't get a medal for doing what's easy. You get a medal for doing what's hard, or bad, medal in war or something, right? Okay? So the disintegration is important because all of the chemicals are gone, and now you have to choose to love, even when it's difficult. That is the thing of which relationships are really made. Okay? That's the point where you're like, love is getting up in the middle of the night because your kid's throwing up all over the place. And now you got to change the sheets. And you change them, and guess what? They just threw up in them again. Okay? None of that is enjoyable, but you do it out of love. Okay? Now, here's the great part. If you can navigate safely through this disintegration stage, you get to the third stage, which I will call reintegration, but is actually very, very profound. It is the stage of the relationship where love has become a choice, it has become an act of the will, it has become a habit. So independent of any chemicals, you have made the choice to be committed to and to love this person. And that commitment has become a habit built up over the years. Any couple who has been through these three stages, this will shock you perhaps to hear, any couple who has been through these three stages, and you ask them, an old couple, which stage is the most satisfying? Which stage do you find the most enjoyable? Invariably, they will say, bam, the third stage. That is the best and happiest time of a marriage. See, we've got it all wrong writing these songs and movies celebrating young love. It's the old people who've been together for 40 years that are really, truly enjoying the happiest state of love. Okay? That's the stage. And so you've got to work through this disintegration stage to get there. Okay? I wouldn't even say write this down because this can really vary. Okay? The infatuation stage can be from months to about 5 years. Okay? The disintegration stage could be like 10, 15 years. Okay? It can't. It's just rough. Okay? Their integration stage would be the rest of the life. Okay? This is why marriage was so intent on making a couple take a public vow, okay? They enter into a public contract. Marriage, in its most fundamental form, is a contract. It's very unromantic sounding, but literally when you're exchanging your wedding vows, what you are doing is you are entering into a verbal but publicly witnessed contract. And what you are promising in that contract, it actually sounds very unromantic, but what you are literally saying, and all those words like to have and to hold, people go, what does that mean? To have and to hold, for richer, for poor, as long as we both shall live. What you are saying in those vows is literally, I will have sex with you and no one else, and you have sex with me and no one else until one of us dies. That's literally what you're entering into in that contract. You might say that sounds very unromantic, but actually it is very romantic when you look at love as this whole process, okay? Because when you're looking into that person's eyes and you're saying, you know, sick or poor, or sick or healthy, rich or poor, for better or for worse. That word worse, when you say it, you're entering into a contract for better or for worse. I will be with you till one of us dies. That is an intense, like, serious commitment, okay? Marriage, in fact, I've heard it said, okay, and I totally agree with this. Love is 51% commitment, 49% love, okay? It's 51% commitment. Now, it sounds unromantic, but it actually is the most romantic thing, because that's how you get to this really cool stage where, like, we love each other, we made the choice, I'd never do it any other way. And then, I mean, when you get older, you don't become, I mean, you get less and less attractive. I mean, an older person, I mean, you know, you put on a bunch of weight, men and women, they start to kind of return to this almost infantile state again, where, you know, you can't really distinguish between men and women as much, you know, and they get rid of, depending on makeup and what they wear, you know, but the bodies start sagging and all this stuff, but they're madly in love with each other. You know, think about what must be going on in a person's head to be madly in love with a person despite how they look or whatever. Okay? That's real love. But it comes through commitment. Okay? I've heard it said that there are people who are getting married now, and they're saying this, you know, oh, I promise to be true to you, sickness and health, rich for poor, better for worse, as long as our love shall last. That's saying, what that's literally saying is, I promise to be committed to you until I'm not. You know, I promise to be honest to you until I lie. You know, that's a really terrible way. That's a study I want to see. How many people's marriages lasted who got married using those vows? Okay? So, no, you're entering into this very, very powerful commitment. And get ready, because it is going to go through a lousy stage, but if you can work through it, you'll be all right, okay? Now, how do you know when it's disintegrating and it's actually going in a bad direction, okay? Because it does happen that you will have couples that, for whatever reason, they really should not be together, okay? It's just going to cause problems for the kids. It's going to be, you know, like a real nightmare. So there is a point where you can say, you know what, we need to amicably separate for the sake of ourselves and our children, and that will happen, okay? But the relationship is going to go through a series of dark stages before it gets there. The 4 signs, okay, that I'm going to show you of a relationship that is failing, all right, like actually failing. I'm going to show them to you. The person who came up with this, his name is Dr. Gottman, okay, and I'll write his name out because a lot of what I'm talking about, if you look this fellow up, you'll see a lot of parallels to what I'm talking about here. Dr. Gottman is famous because he can, it's actually really scary. He can sit down with a couple and talk with them for 10 minutes, and he is within around a 90% accuracy can tell if they're going to divorce or not. It doesn't matter if you're newlyweds or whatever. That's scary. I feel like I don't want this guy to talk to me, you know. But he has what he calls the 4 horsemen, okay? Now, from your biblical imagery, you might know the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are a sign that the end is near, okay? Well, there are the 4 horsemen of a relationship collapsing. As I explain this to you, I don't want you to think that, oh, if our relationship has that, therefore we're done. No. These are horsemen. They're harbingers. But it means when this starts happening, go to a counselor. Don't wait. Go to a counselor, and go to a counselor regularly. All the time I get these couples that divorce, and I go, well, did you go to counseling? And they go, yeah. And I find out 2 things. One, they waited until it was like totally wrecked. Totally wrecked before they went to the counselor. Okay, they waited until it just got like way beyond. Okay, like your house is burned down and then you call the carpet cleaner. Okay, you're a little late. All right. But the other thing here is that I find that people who go to counselors, they'll oftentimes go, oh, how many times did you go? Well, we went 3 times. Going to a counselor, marriage counselor 3 times is like going to the gym 3 times. Okay? It's not going to do anything. It's a good start, you know? And you got to go 3 times before you go 4, but it's just not going to do it. So if you see these horsemen rearing their heads in your relationship, get to a counselor. Go every week, you know? I will actually tell you this. It is my experience and my belief, and my experience I think I should really talk about. I have worked with couples that were literally just on the brink of the precipice of divorce. Like they were there. But they said, you know what, we are committed and we're going to come see you. We're going to work through this if we can, if it's possible. And I can say happily that a number of those couples are now just doing wonderful. They're gently gliding into the reintegration stage of their relationship. Okay? So a counselor who knows what they're doing can really make a big difference. Okay? But here are the 4 horsemen. Okay? So these are the 4 signs of a dying relationship, okay? Or a relationship headed for disaster, okay? The first is criticism. Now, I mean criticism of a certain kind, okay? Certainly, it is perfectly fine to criticize things, okay? It is perfectly fine to say, you know, when you take your, this is like what I would hear at my house all the time growing up, okay? When you drag your mud, when you don't take your shoes off, you drag mud into the house. Oh, really? Sorry. You know, I was like, Dad, take your shoes off, you know what I mean? But, you know, that kind of a criticism is fine. I'm not saying it's like, oh, once again, there's mud in the house. This gives me an opportunity to, you know, no. It's perfectly fine. And this is what I was saying earlier. There's nothing wrong with fighting. It is a kind of criticism where you criticize who the person is, okay? And you can tell, because these kinds of criticisms often start with the phrase like this: you always, or this is just like you too, or you never, you know? So you're not criticizing a behavior, you are criticizing the person. You are so selfish. Okay? Like somebody changes the plans at the last minute. Instead of saying like, why did you change those plans? We made a deal that we were going to do this on this particular night. We were going to watch Gilmore Girls. Why are you going out with your friends? Why are you doing that? Okay? But to say, you always do this, you are dishonest, you're selfish, that is a direct criticism against that person, and that's not a healthy thing to do. Okay? Always criticize the action, the observed behavior, never the person. Okay? Secondly, this is related to criticism. Defensiveness. This means that a person will deflect any kind of a criticism that comes their way. So instead of saying, you know what, you're right. I said we were going to watch Gilmore Girls tonight. We're going to do it, okay? A defensive person says, wait a minute. You know, I never get time to hang out with my friends. Like, you know, what's the big deal? You know, Johnny's in town. You know, we're going to hang out, man. You know, we haven't seen each other for a while, you know. Or defensiveness sounds like this. You were going to stay home tonight. Yeah, well, you cut out on me last week. Okay? We're not talking about what she did last week. We're talking about what you're doing right now. Okay? So defensiveness is when you cannot accept the criticism and say, you know what? Okay, I could see it that way. Or, you know, well, no, honey, you know, he comes into town once a year, and I honestly thought that under these circumstances it would be okay for me to break plans with you. But maybe I shouldn't have done it this way. Then you're dealing with the criticism, okay? But a defensiveness where you either go at the person for something they did, okay? Do you ever met a person like this? Have you ever met a person like this? A friend or in a relationship? They've done something wrong that's going to upset you, okay? They've done something wrong. Knowing that you're going to get upset, they attack you over something before that you can even get to the thing they did, you know? Like you come in and they broke something and you're like, and you weren't even necessarily be mad, and they just explode at you because they know that they're about to get something. You ever met someone like that? Okay.